In this video, we will guide you to conduct a Co-PBLa-PA in-class learning activity. Co-PBLa-PA, or Collaborative Problem-Based Learning and Peer Assessment, is an active learning pedagogy using interactive online whiteboards as a medium for problem-based learning. There are 4 basic steps to meet those goals. First, instructors and/or students develop and formulate questions for the groups to create a problem-based learning environment. Second, student groups discuss and answer prepared questions. Collaborative problem-based learning takes place at this step. Then, students in groups work together and peer assess or evaluate another group's answers as peer assessment. Last but not least, instructors discuss and/or summarize with students each group's work and contribution to end a Co-PBLa-PA learning activity. Based on the 4 basic steps in the overall structure mentioned before, we could break them into the following parts. Preparation and classwork. As mentioned, Co-PBLa-PA is an active learning pedagogy using interactive online whiteboards as a medium for problem-based learning. Therefore, you should make sure that each group could have at least one device connected to the internet. Any device connected to the internet will work, but touchscreen tablets are most preferred. And of course, you as the instructor will also need a device. So get your device ready, and let's carry on to prepare a whiteboard template to make things easy afterwards. First, you will need to choose which interactive online whiteboard to use. There are many free and freemium whiteboards available online. The important thing is that all your students should be able to access and draw on them. To have a better experience, you could find one that has additional features suitable for you. Based on the interactive online whiteboard you choose, you may want to go over the features with your students before the activities. In this example, we are using Concept Board. Divide your board into sections for each group. With space for the question prompt and students to write their answers. If the app allows it, lock down these sections in place. As mentioned, it is a good idea to save this as a template for future activities. With the whiteboard template ready, we could start making boards for the activity. Note down the sharing information, such as URL or QR code, or other references that students will need to access the board. It is always more convenient to name the board according to class, lesson session, topic, etc. Then include the board name and the sharing information on the board. Next is to populate the board with questions. We suggest having some variation in the questions asked. One option is for instructors to prepare the discussion questions for each group ahead of time. This is highly recommended for instructors conducting Co-PBLa-PA for the first time and/or have tight time constraints. If applicable, a fun alternative could be assigned to students to formulate or tweak the questions that other groups will work on during the activity. If the app allows it, lock the questions in place after they are ready. It is also a good idea to save a copy for further use. We have now finished the preparation for a Co-PBLa-PA activity. Now, let's talk about the classwork. In different scenarios, you may have to adjust your ways to apply Co-PBLa-PA in the class. We prepared the general guidance for you. Most of the activity is spent on group discussion. In this part, you will divide the class into discussion groups and assign each group a section on the whiteboard. You may have to use breakout rooms if it is conducted online. Then, encourage students to write and draw their answers. Next, let students be the markers. Assign each group to mark another's work. You could also encourage students to discuss in groups when marking another's work. Finally, regroup as a class for a final discussion. Ask students to present their work or marking, and conclude the activity with a final summary of today's learnings. For more information, please refer to the video description.